All right, hello, hello, hello. Let me know if the sound is coming through all right. Looks like it is. The red bar is there, so. Um, ooh, we almost had a big echo there. I still had sound on over there, but we couldn't hear it. Yes, birds. Let me give the birds a treat. Cool. Thank you, Ernest. I'm gonna try to treat the birds and make sure they don't make tons of noise, but we will see. Treats. All right. So, how's everybody's day going today? Hopefully, it went well. Lots of stuff going on in the markets today. Lots of movement. Basically, all the news was read for the most part. Before we jump into everything else, I just want to point out I saw this news and I was like, oh God, I can't wait to say. I'm like, how long have I been saying I'm waiting for the sanctions to come down? And check this out. They're crafting retaliatory actions against China over coronavirus as President Trump fumes. I called it. I told you guys before, there will be sanctions coming. You know, if anybody else did it, if it was Iran or Iraq, any of these other nations that we've kind of butted heads against, there's always sanctions. And something this big, I was waiting for it. So, pretty interesting. Yeah, it's only going to get crazier from here. So, yeah, you guys thought the trade war was crazy? Yeah, wait for this one. That's just talk. It won't lead anywhere. You watch. You'll see. People are going to be pissed about it, and once other people figure out that they can, kind of get involved. Trust me, we don't know the whole story. That guy probably knows more than we know. But, yeah, I mean, I think they should. I mean, if they, they relaxed, they relaxed regulations that allowed that to happen. Hey, it's your fault. You had regulations in that, you had, that trade was, getting kind of dwindled down to nothing. And then the rich people wanted some more, special goods, and bam, next thing you know, we got a worldwide pandemic on our hands. So, slap it on them is what I'm saying. Hit them with it. Where in Iran dropping that plane? I don't know. I mean, Iran dropped the plane, but we did kill a guy. We didn't lose any Americans, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Like I said, if it was Americans, it's a little bit different. I think we got the better of the exchange on that one. And the fact that they told us that they were going to shoot the base beforehand, I think that was kind of like, hey, we're going to shoot it just to save face. Just FYI, but get everybody out of there. I mean, whenever you're going to do that, it's kind of, sure, we won, buddy. All right, cool. We're even. Good deal. Even trade. You took one of your top generals out. Even trade. So, I mean, just think, if Japan during Pearl Harbor, right? Hey, guys, make sure the aircraft carriers are not there. We're coming, right? Nah, that's not how it happens. You don't tell the other guys you're going to attack first. Yeah, and that's why I disappeared really, really quickly, because they were like, oh God, this makes us look bad. Just ignore it. Forget it happened. Redo. All right, but overall for the day today, obviously that led to a lot of different big news today with everything going on with, press conferences, personal spending numbers, announcements, all kinds of stuff in here, right? You can see Euro, 90 pips. Love it. That's actually what it should do. It's actually been very, very low the last probably like 4 or 5 days. It's been more muted. So nice seeing the 88 in there. And again, that was kind of spread out, although there's been some decent movement over the last hour. Pound dollar up 127. Again, that's a good healthy day. I mean, that's what a good day in the pound should look like. It's just slightly above what the ATR should be. So I'm totally cool with that as well. Dollar yen up 40. It's an okay day. It's about 70% of what its ATR should be. So, it's not bad. Dollar Swiss, that's a little bit high. And again, that's straight to the downside. Again, that's kind of a big day for the Swiss, even back in the day. That one really didn't get as crazy. Dollar CAD up 75. That one is retracing again. We've had so many losses in that one. I'm not surprised that we did have a bit of a rally. And, that's actually a bit higher. And it says, the last 15 minutes, you can see that it's a 0.8. So, that's a little bit more than what you would expect, but not unreasonable. Aussie down 55, right? Bringing some stuff in here. And I was looking at a gold chart just before we started chart school, and it's kind of funny. It just drops into a level and then just goes sideways. So kind of interesting. Euro pound down 18. Nothing too crazy there. I mean, versus the euro, it's down slightly. But man, look at that pound yen, 184, which is what a typical big day in the pound would look like, right? So Yeah, I mean, there's some pound. We've had so much pound weakness lately. It's nice seeing that thing finally get a nice little, little bit of a oomph forward. Um, yeah, yeah, been crazy. Like I said, I've been kind of surprised that one hasn't gotten, seen more things kind of popping around. But yeah, 123, 185, those are nice moves versus the euro, much more limited. But yeah, whew, nice movements. Now, but looking for the day, pretty much GDP numbers all across the board came in much worse than expected. You can see French, Spain, and then preliminary all much worse. The preliminary flash GDP for the euro only came in zero point 0.1 below, which is actually not horrible. That's pretty close, right? And then you'll kind of see the GDP for CAD, they were off. Month over month, they expected it to be zero point 0.2. And I mentioned that last night that I was kind of surprised. I'm like, I don't know how they're doing this zero point 0.2 thing. I'm like, that kind of seems high for me because it was zero point 0.1. They actually made the adjustment as well in the previous, but I don't know. It made more sense that it came in at a zero today. So when I saw that, it was kind of like, yeah, that makes a bit more sense now, right? So not really surprised. Again, that's much worse than expected. The market had factored that point, that zero point 0.2 in, and again, that's why you're seeing that 75. Unemployment claims slightly above. I think at this point they're just ballparking. Although there's like major problems everywhere. I know at least in Maryland sites, there people can't even get in. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's across the United States. Now, like Maryland, there was a big thing for, I guess, gig workers, like independent contractors and stuff like that. They couldn't file, but now they can. So they just started able to file last week, and then the new system broke. Like they put this new system in to handle the orders, and people can't get in. So it's totally messed up. So it's like you made us wait 3 weeks, and now we can't even get anything. And it's just amazing. Like they're like, oh, the system's working well. We're processing 780 things, and like, oh, that means that there should be 70,000 or 100,000 in the last week. But yet the new unemployment numbers only so there's like 30,000. So the numbers that the governor is spouting his math is just slightly off. But I'm sure this is across the entire country if they it's opened up for small businesses. So pretty interesting. It's like you get your popcorn and you watch. It's like, oh god, what are these people saying now? Like people are like, there's like 40,000 people in front of me on the logins. It's like, what? I'm like, are you serious? This one woman's like, she's like, I've called no less than 100 times every hour and I still haven't gotten in 3 days. I was like, what? Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, same with Michigan. Yeah, I can't. I mean, like the numbers, it's just unbelievable. So they're talking about the reopening thing, but I will give them this though. I mean, as messed up as everything is, they are saying because of all the errors and things, they will backdate things. Back to like whenever the gig workers got kind of sent home, like servers and stuff like that. They're not there. Like bartenders when all that stuff got shut down. So it's, I guess they're doing it right by that, but the fact that any of the contractors just got the ability 3 weeks later and then the system is so broken that you can't even log in. Like, yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, I'm pretty sure every state more or less has the same thing at this point, but hopefully the reopening gets people back in and, we'll start moving again. But yeah, numbers are not great. The personal spending number being down 7.5, definitely bigger than expected. Yeah, so you need to watch out for that. And then obviously Chicago PMI. So going into tomorrow, last day of the week, we have basically ISM manufacturing. Kind of ends off, just kind of slows down and we get to kind of call it quits, right? It's been kind of a crazy week, right? Some days big, some days not big, and then spike this way, spike that way. Yeah, I mean, it'd be nice when, kind of the day is, the week is over. I just feel that this week has been draining for a lot of different traders. Yeah, I just feel like, it's been like a lot of not knowing, and then you have like huge numbers, and then you see a big negativity, and just, I don't know. I mean, looking down in the scanner, I mean, again, let me go through this. Look at the overall news here, right? I mean, for the most part, coming down, I mean, you see monetary policy, you're talking about, some pandemic stuff here with Canada. We can't solve this crisis. This is kind of an interesting one. Christine Lagarde cannot solve the COVID-19 crisis. And then we're talking about retaliatory stuff. We're talking about FOMC. We're talking about, basically you're going to lose military support. Okay. They can lose military support, but we're not going to let anybody touch them. So that's kind of a false, that's kind of false, right? Down here, we're talking about, banks creating negative rates. And then it says the White House will have a plan to help the economy. I'm sure it does. I'm sure they already have a way to stimulate this as much as possible. Because they definitely, without a doubt, want the economy back up and really kind of putting up mega numbers by the time the election gets around. All right. Any possible advantage they can get, they're going to take advantage of it. Backdating from Michigan, an extra $600. Yeah, I think the 600, Sean, isn't that a federal thing? I think the federal government does the 600, right? I think that was back federally because somebody mentioned that here as well, and I don't think that comes from Maryland. I think that's a state. I think that's a federal government thing, but like it gets tacked on because unemployment comes to the states or something like that. I read something about that. But overall, like I said, this scanner is kind of what I wanted to show again. Remember yesterday I talked about using the tools correctly. So when you look at a scanner and something along these lines, like I've actually never seen this. If you guys notice this, every single one of these pairs on the daily, minus one thing, has either a setup or an anchor break on it. I've never seen this before. Look at this. All uptrend setups, downtrend setups. 2 anchor breaks, 2 uptrend setups, 2 downtrend setups. Uptrend, anchor break, uptrend setup, downtrend setup, and then here you go. The pound CAD is the only thing consolidating. Look at this. All uptrend setups, anchor break, uptrend setups, 1 downtrend setup, and then it's like, wow. Never seen this ever. And like I said, it's literally all reversals. Everything's kind of switched what it was. Look at this. Every single one of the 4 hours in a direction confirmed. Over here, all but the Euro CAD, all confirmed. Over here, almost all confirmed. Here, all but the Aussie New Zealand confirmed. Over here, all but the pound CAD confirmed. Crazy, 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 crazy. So again, I'm not going to break this down pair by pair by pair, but you can see that basically everything is either pulling back or coming off a level as we speak. Never seen it this nuts before, except when you have like, when there's something absolutely just insanely like, presidential election or even that. No, I mean, this is literally globally, everything is off, right? Because I mean, Euro Swiss has nothing to do with the United States and that's up. Euro, this one kind of does. This one, no. Aussie CAD, nothing to do with us, and that one's cranked. CAD Swiss, cranked. CAD Yen, cranked. New Zealand CAD, cranked. So yeah, absolutely insane, right? Yuck, tax is where you pay taxes for decades. The time to reap what you sow. Oh, for the unemployment stuff. Oh wait, what about $900? Wait, 900? Right, but still, someone making $600 a week, working all week, now makes $900 a week. Yeah, I don't know. It's all kind of screwy and messed up. So I'm hoping by summertime we're all the way back again. So. We'll see. All right, let's dive into some charts. Go through. Being on Thursday, like I said, the only thing we really have to focus on is the ISM manufacturing numbers, and we may have a couple of retraces tomorrow, so we'll kind of look at that. But for the most part, there's a lot of things bouncing off zones. So first things first, let me bring this across. Let's go down. Like I said, I'm not going to go pair by pair through the scanner right now. It just doesn't make sense with everything in the position that it's in. All right. So chart number 1, we're going over the Aussie daily, the Aussie dollar on the daily. As you can see, we had an area marked off from 2 days ago. You guys can see it's basically literally just collapsing out of that zone. It's continuing to push lower. This is one of those higher zones that we did have a bit of a retest on. And on the hourly, you can see it did come back up, and this is where we were last night for chart school. Right now, we're all the way down here, so a little bit different from here down. But you can see, we talked about this, right? Hitting that zone, getting confirmations coming through. We had a red, a green, a nice red down. It came down and ended up going through this level. This was that level that we used for the kind of the Harry Potter, right? It was a prior level, came down, ended up running into these buyers, bounced through, came back up and used that as its risk level, and then went up into this higher level 4-hour zone. Well, since that higher level 4-hour zone, what did we do? We saw the red, the green. The red came all the way down, and it tagged this yellow zone. Actually, right there, okay? And what did it do? It went all the way back up again, grabbed that 30-minute level that was formed inside of that zone, and then collapsed all the way back to the downside. So talk about an absolute runner today. This pair was an absolute monster. Now, where we are now, we are still in a racetrack to the downside. There will be a little bit of a hiccup situation right over in here by the way this is formed. It's not bad, right? That little hiccup is sitting right over here at 64.55. And really, once we get a little bit lower, you guys can see there is a zone sitting basically right in there, probably right there, right at the top of that level, okay? That's more or less where we have buyers kind of stepping into the market, and you can see the green is kind of the initial push, the basing level sitting right here. So for me, I'm going to be, remain in the overnight bearish, looking for any type of pullbacks, but this thing doesn't look like it wants to pull back. It's just literally going straight down, right? On the 30-minute, you can see a couple smaller things in here, right? But none of them are really great levels. I mean, there's some basing here, and like I said, there's that little hiccup that we're going to run into. But for the most part, once that hiccup's gone, like I said, we got, about 30 pips, 40 pips to the downside from there. 34 pips. So I think that'll be in the overnight play as this one continuing to go to the downside. Now, what it does from here will be interesting. Like I said, this will matter a lot on timing. Okay, it is 34 pips. They could do that technically in 1 hour, but a lot of that is from, movements earlier today. Question is, will it come straight down and will it hold? And with the 10 a.m. news tomorrow morning, that could be an interesting play. A little bit of a bounce off that level. And actually, let me pull up. I don't have Nadex up right now. Let me pull it up and see what we got here. I'm going to go in here. Trading a job, I get to apply for unemployment, though. Not actually true, Sean. Because if you're trading as a business, then you are self-employed. At least in Maryland, you can. Let's see. What was I looking at? Oh. So, all right. Let's see. What do we have in that range? And it's funny, like I've been looking at touch brackets all week, and now I'm like, oh wait, there's no touch bracket. Let's see. I wanted to see what we have in that range. 64. Yeah, there's no nothing right now. So this is what I was looking for. Trying to see what the daily call spreads were to see if we can get something pretty cheap in that level. Looks like we're gonna have to grab something for tomorrow morning. None of these are really matching up right now. If this is over here at 64.40, there's not really a good bottom side for this one. So save that one for later. We'll check that out again. With the news at the time that it is tomorrow at 10, make sure you're checking this at like 9:30 tomorrow morning. See if we're sitting in this level. Look for going long out of it. It's not, not a bad little, right in there. It's not bad. Not horrible. Your risk level on this one is only about 12 pips. We love that. Right now, the 1 to 3 looks good. We got to see what it looks like on the way down if it bases or anything like that. But even the 1 to 5 is not bad by the way the candle's dropping, right? Dang, we'll need to apply. Or get a small business loan. Yeah, you can get the small business loan, but without the employees, it's actually a loan. That federal government thing that they did, if you have what now, so this is a question that I don't know. Like I am not an accountant or anything like that. There's probably a Carl question, but technically for my trading company, the way that it's designed, I am considered my own W-2 employee. So I have some that comes out as dividends and some that comes out as salary, which is like a W-2. Because there would be one employee, I don't know if if I don't fire myself, like would that qualify me for that small business association loan that if I don't fire myself turns into just free money? I don't know. I don't know how that one works. I don't know if I need additional employees besides. I don't know. It's one of those kind of questions. I think they ran out of money on it anyway, but I always wondered that. I was like, technically I do have a W-2 for myself and then the other half is dividends. Yeah, but if I am W-2, then I am an employee. That's kind of where I'm stuck with that small business thing. I'm like, But I do know because of the homeschooling aspect, I could claim it in Maryland as well. I haven't, but I could. Because again, if I'm not able to, maintain the hours I was putting in the computer because I'm homeschooling, that could hurt your business. And again, I could, do that as a temporary employee. Haven't, but could. But the small business thing, like where it's free, that'd be interesting. I was thinking about getting in and let them take it out of the taxes over the next 10 years. Yeah, I mean, it's there's so many ways to do it right now. It's like unbelievable. But it's all like, I don't know. Do I qualify for that? Do I not qualify for that? I don't know. My in-law did apply because he has 3 employees. His wife is one of them. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, once they're W-2s, they didn't say they couldn't be you. And like, I am a W-2 of my own company. And then, like I said, the rest comes out as dividends. But I don't know. We need Carl. Carl's got his master's in accounting. He would know. But like, Carl, we're not going to take this as legal advice. But tell us what the answer is. Come on, Carl. I'm answering you. Help me out here, buddy. I don't know. I mean, figure if they're, if that's the rules, then I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't create the rules, but if you know how to play the game, why not play it? But But anyway, this one in the overnight, I like this one. Your targets, obviously, you can set your 1 to 3 based off of your entries, but most likely kind of sitting up in that area would be target number 1. Target number 2 would be up top. There's no touch brackets. There's call spreads only on this one. So again, keep that in mind that it will not automatically take you out on any buys to get buys to close or sells to close for either of those two. Okay, so I'll remove this one. Oh, figures. The one that I didn't look at. All right, there we go. So there's Aussie. So going across the Aussie yen, you guys can see that Aussie yen basically had the same exact pattern. We had marked this zone off. We'd gotten pretty close to it, right? We've been talking about this. It's like, oh God, it's turning. It's so close. It's so close. And then bam, we hit. But look at this. It literally pushed it to the brink on the spike. Now, the spike of this one was pretty interesting. We had these 2 levels marked off, right? So here's where we are right now, okay? Chart school last night, we were sitting right about here, and we talked about being short this pair, right? We had 2 zones down here, and we marked these off, right? We said that we had zones sitting right there, and you guys can see, what did it bounce into? Right there. Came down that far, okay? Came all the way down, spiked all the way up, and then bam, just collapsed back down again. So kind of the same thing. This one was a little bit scarier. Of the 2, the Aussie dollar was probably a bit safer, but this one just kind of the same idea. So price is collapsing back down again. I don't see any reason why it won't continue to get pushed down. 30 is also what will bring it back down to this lower level. This is kind of the hiccup that we had in this pair. It's equivalent to kind of this area, right? So all this at least stayed well within the zone that we had drawn. This one literally pushed it to the very, very brink. So it went down. It hit exactly where it should have. It took a heck of a bounce at, let's see, what time did that bounce occur? Yeah, about 9:30, 10ish, right in here. Yeah, it started I'm trying to see if it had crashed into it at 8:30, but it's hold on. Yeah, the first one was it was 9. Wait, hold on. Yeah, it was the 9 o'clock one exactly. Yeah, I was trying to say, I was like, wait a second, was it the 8:30 crash or was the 9? Yeah, it was the 9 crash in there. So yeah. Literally to the brink and all the way back down. So again, bearish position in the overnight. I think we will come down. That 69.06 is probably an interesting area. Don't know if I'd go long off of that one with all the pressure heading, pushing this one to the downside. And the reason why is because it's so close to this white zone. We may get a bounce off of that zone, come up, and then this white zone would be your selling zone. Just because it's a little bit farther down. It's an area of buyers right now, but it will turn into an area of sellers. So if it hits, we may get a little Harry Potter that could really force it through. And then we have this big gap underneath. So we may actually see price pushing back down into this range tomorrow. Okay, down to this 68, 61. Could be, like I said, this one, like I said, there's a lot of selling pressure right now. And that's, I'm just wondering if we're going to break through, tag the green level, come back up, hit the white, and then collapse. Do something along these lines. Okay. I'd really like to see where we are. Again, same thing. 10 a.m. tomorrow. I'm definitely or really this one starting at 9:30. Because remember, 10 o'clock is also a reversal time. So, I want to see where we're at that time. It's just bearish in the overnight and looking for somewhere to go long tomorrow morning, most likely down in here, if we're not already there yet. So now, if we are bouncing and pulling up at 10, yes, I'm going to continue shorting this position. Not a touch bracket pair. You can get call spreads or binaries on this one as well. Drop it down and look at the 2 hours. Those would be the safest ones to take it on because there will be a lot more limited risk. You could take it with spot currency as well. It would be fine over there because a lot of these, like this risk level is you're only talking about 12 pips. So very, very small, right? If you don't pay them back, you get free room and board for a while. I don't even know. At this point, there are so many people getting it. I don't even, James, I don't even know how they would know. And like you said, and James, the one thing about the small business thing that is funny, it's it's considered a loan now, but if you don't fire your employees, then you don't have to pay the loan back. Okay. So, I don't know, in your friend's situation, right? In Eris's friends, if he took that loan and he didn't fire the other 2 employees, but fired his wife, would he still get to keep the money? Because they're related. So, is there a spousal privilege in the firing or not? That's what I want to know. All right, Euro Yen. Check this bad boy out. Yeah. Look at this. We get nothing, and we've been waiting to go long forever, right? We've just been waiting patiently. I mean, we just been waiting, and then bam! Look at this thing. I like, where the heck did this come from, right? I mean, we've had this zone here. We've been waiting forever for this position. Just come a little bit lower, and then we get this, right? That's why I dislike this pair so much. We're waiting. Like, just come a little bit. It's right there. We're looking for that buy, wanting to be able to get in, and then wham, we get cranked with this one today. I mean, this was in basically the move total was 222 pips. Too many loopholes. I bet the small guy will get room and board, but the big fish will get nothing. Yeah, they don't even know who the big guy is. But yeah, the guy that reports it is the guy that gets fired, and then that's, no, they just give big companies money. It's the small companies that they don't really take advantage of or don't take care of. All right, so on the 30-minute, you can see we had some bounces, but this is one of those ones today. I would definitely be looking for a retrace on this one. As you guys can already see, we pushed up. We kind of made this failure to go higher again. It didn't push back up. It did go higher than its prior here, but it's really starting to push down. And again, it's going to have a little bit of a sticking room, most likely in this area, but you guys can see there's just a full racetrack to the downside after that. Excuse me. But the break of that would be down here at 116.81. This is a 30-minute candle, so it's definitely opened up. I mean, there are no buyers sitting there until we get back down to this lower level, down into here. So this could definitely be something. And again, it stinks that it's a Friday and not, it stinks that it's not a Monday or Tuesday where we have all this extra time. But setting up something along these lines, and you guys can see the 1 to 5, good position, or the 1 to 3, and the 1 to 5 is actually also in a good position for profit. So again, Harry Potter trade, we keep getting a lot of these, but those are the good ones to get on those retraces, particularly off of that pullback. So yeah, quite a mover, right? Quite a mover on this one. It always drives me crazy too, because we've just been waiting patiently, and they're like, wait, be patient, be patient, be patient. And it left without us in such a huge move. And you guys can see if you would have taken it off of this full candle, there was a break here, there's a piece here. Small 30-minute levels that, they were, you could have taken small things, but yeah, I mean, this was happening at 2:00 in the morning from really midnight my time till about 2:30 in the morning. And then that's where the pop occurred. And then the 9 o'clock is when, everything got crazy this morning here. So I thought most of those were forgivable, not the business fault. They were told to close. Yeah, I think so. And that's the thing. It's like, if you were told don't fire your employees, well, no, your business had to close, but you have to keep paying the employees. And that's what they were giving the bridge loans for, was to float that. And as long as you don't fire them, basically meaning that when you reopen, all those employees come back again, you don't have to pay the loans back. That's kind of how it was supposed to work. Okay. All right. So here's the pound. So there's the pound move. So interestingly enough, we had a zone set up here that we were talking about if price was able to pull into, right? Here's where we are now. Chart school last night, we were sitting right here. Right here. Okay. Now, we had bounced off this. What did it do? It broke. And what did it do in the other direction? It came up, it retested at 10 o'clock this morning, and then launched itself. So this is we typically draw Harry Potters to the downside. This isn't a perfect example of a Harry Potter to the top side. I did not, there's no questioning this one. I did not get into this position. I kind of looked at it real quick, and the next thing you know, it was all the way up top. Look at this. Basically, this one candle was 170 pips by itself. The sucker moved. And again, who would have expected that much movement out of this pair? But again, interestingly enough, what do you got? We had that level that we had right here, right? It had hit the level. It was actually pulling off the level, right? We were at about 1.5 to 1, almost 2 to 1, right? So, is it a trade you should have lost money on? No. And when price came back across, this is, right around that 9, 10 o'clock time frame. We knew what was going to happen. If you were in this position, you were going to be out. You're not going to, maintain the position right before news. So, you definitely didn't lose money on it. You shouldn't have, right? We were literally over halfway to the profit target. But then it broke, came through, retested, and launched. So this is not a trade that I took. And I wish I could say that, hey, listen, I got into that one. Yeah, that was a huge... That's one of those things you just can't predict, What spiked these yen pairs? Well, this actually had to do more with a pound. I guess the yen too, yeah, but this is Both the pound numbers were pretty big. This would have been right at what, 5 o'clock? No. Whoops, I had the time set wrong. Yeah, this was the 10 o'clock number. Yep. So the Fed announcement at 10. This. The Main Street lending program. Yeah, this is why right here. See this word? Unscheduled statement. So, yeah. Yep, and again, is this something you can prepare for or predict? Nope, because it's unannounced. You didn't know it was coming. You know, yeah, all this stuff was bad, but whenever you announce one of these things, and again, this is what it was. They're expanding the scope of the eligibility of the Main Street lending program as part of the board effect. More credit flow to small and medium-sized businesses that were in sound financial condition before the pandemic. They need to seek feedback from the public. Ha! Sure. Yeah. Yeah, look. Why didn't you approve loans the first time? Yeah. And that's the problem. Is they announce all these things, but they run out of money so fast. So, yeah, but I mean, you can't, there's no way to predict that. That's why it's kind of like, I mean, what you can do? Yeah, it's unemployment. So where we are right now, again, kind of the same idea, same type of retracing for me. We are in an area where we will see some sticking right now. On the 30-minute, you can see it's the same level. With this type of position, I would do the same thing. Look for a Harry Potter trade to the downside. Now we're getting ready to break. If we break through, look for a little bit of a pullback. Your 1 to 3 and your 1 to 5 are both in great positions. Okay. Pound dollar. Pound dollar, basically the same thing. We came back up. We cranked this level now. On the higher time frames, right, we had a level already drawn here, this white level, and we had a level here. Now, let's see. Let me pull this one up. Remember the touch bracket that we talked about? Where the heck is it? Let's see. Forex touch bracket, the pound. Let's see. That was the one at 26. What, 40? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, on that spike up, remember this one right here that we talked about? The 2676? There you go. That was the one. There's the level that we marked off on the top side, starting at 2580 up to 2643. Right there. Right? Now, current price right now is down at, oh, here, I'll just tell you right now. It is 125.53. So we made it up into that range, and it went as high as, let's see what Nadex had their high at. Oh, we can see the 2650 is there. So yeah, so probably a little bit easier. Yeah, so they had it as high as 2640. So would that have been good? Yep, so about 20 pips risk on that one. And now it's down 90 something pips. So you're a little 4 to 1, 5 to 1. What's up, Pop? So yeah, so again, that's the, I mean, we've had that zone literally marked off all week. Again, could we have predicted that type of pop? We were looking for it coming a little bit earlier, and it came a little bit later. But look at that run off that zone. Again, it did pull the top zone. We had this full bigger zone, and again, that's where we're looking for those touch bracket entries. But we were looking up much, much higher. Look at this. It came up to 2640. Here's 2643. Right? Couldn't get much closer than that. Had you taken this one, again, there was our risk level, putting us up there at 2647. The touch bracket was a little bit higher. The 1 to 3 was hit off the retracement. It hit the 1 hour and is continuing to drop. The 1 to 5 is still probably good as well. Now, unlike the pound yen, this one does not have that little kind of hiccup basing level, so you'd already have to be short this position. But there's a couple different ways that we could have got in. There was another basing level here that got pulled back and they continue to push. But more than anything else at this point, I would say that, we have to remain, bearish this position. A little bit of a hiccup here, but, there's current price. And again, your profit targets, and you need to take yourself out before you get to 2504. So about another 50 pips in the overnight is assuming what this will retrace back to tomorrow. All right. Now, ISM numbers I don't expect will help us, but I think when the European market opens, that will kind of start to kind of jumpstart this one and push it to the downside. Honestly, it'd be awesome if we could get all the way back down to that level. If we could get back down to this 125.04-ish range, like 50 pips in the overnight is not a lot for it to, take over. If we could get there tomorrow morning between 9:30-ish before that 10 o'clock ISM number, I'd be willing to look to see if we can get some out of the monies to the top side. I think that'd be a nice little trade setup. Let me see. So that's 2025. See. Touch brackets for morning, though, you can see that we enter that zone at 25.04. There's a 25.17, but that would get busted. And then the next one's a little bit far. So the bottom side of that one is 24.76. So yeah, there's this guy, but it'd have to come pretty deep in that zone, that 24.67. It's a shame it's not just a little bit smaller. If we had one in like a 24... if we had one like a 24.70, 24.75, that would be awesome. But 24.67, it's not the end of the world. So this could be the touch bracket TB11. Look for that one tomorrow. If we do get a push down, if we are sitting somewhere down in here before news tomorrow, that'd be the way to take that one. Right now, remember this is a touch bracket pair, so definitely I would take it in the touch bracket over the call spread. It'll have less kind of drama in it tomorrow morning. But that'd be a pretty cool one. Now, I would probably not take this one in spot tomorrow, just because again, this one can have major spikes. And if you mess this one up, we can definitely get some crazy movement with it. So take this one with the limited risk. It's the best way to do it. Yeah, I cover equities. It's all the same. Yeah, we did Apple the other day. I think I still have the chart actually up on it. We'll check it out. One of our new members, or one of the new followers of the channel, asked to see some Apple stuff. So if you have a stock, I can always put up and look at it. Sometimes it feels like we should leave a limit order out there. These spikes are tough to... Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on Ben? Yeah, I'll do the equities at the end in about 20 minutes. So if you guys can hang around for about 20 minutes. A chart, and I tell this to everybody that comes in the channel. So the way that I analyze a chart, it's exactly the same. It doesn't matter. A chart's a chart. All price action is exactly the same. So I can pull it up. You guys can learn a few little pointers real quick. And then again, I'll pull those up if you guys want. Ben and by the end of next week. Yeah, I can check it out. Yep. Yeah, I don't mind looking at anything. I mean, like I said, I'll look at it. I'll tell you what my opinion is on it. You can take it or leave it. Do whatever you guys want with it. But everything that I'm doing, that I'm talking about, zones and pullbacks and those things, again, it's the same. It doesn't matter what chart you're on. Again, price action is price action. Euro pound, guys. So you guys can see that Euro pound entry. This one was a little bit crazy too, but for the most part, this one was a little bit more muted. We didn't have the same type of crazy unidirectional movement. This one has only moved 12 pips in 24 hours. You guys can see right now we are sitting right here, and where we were last night was right 21.30 was right here. So we did have a push down. It didn't make it to a sell zone. It did come back up. It did go just slightly higher than the basing area, but we were looking to get short if price was able to come back up to 87.50. It didn't actually make it all the way up. It made a valid attempt, but it pushed a little bit too far down. We had the direction right. We just didn't get our entry, and sometimes that's going to happen. Not much you can do off of that one. So for the most part, I think this one will continue to push up in the overnight a little bit. It's got a little bit of a zone it needs to worry about right here. And this one is just, it's too big. For the candle sizes on this one. I mean, it's only 12 pips, so money-wise, it's not big, but in comparison to what zones are looking like here, I don't know. This one is probably a next week's type setup, waiting till it gets back up to 87.50 for me. Downside, I really don't like too much. It's just kind of tickling here. You guys can see on the 4-hour, we still got a bit of ways before we can get down to that zone that was tested. So, a little bit of a runner. So again, Euro pound is not as, of all the 8 majors that we have up, this one moved 13 pips. It moved a lot less than everything else out there right now. So as the battle between, how bad is Europe versus how bad is the UK is waging, right? Yeah, it's just not as exciting. Now, Euro dollar, on the other hand, is up 74. So this guy, again, we had that huge spike. We were looking for a collapse, and it looked like it tried to come back down again. It ended up missing entry there and ended up blowing through the top. And again, this is one candle that is 115 pips, okay? ATR on the daily is only down to 82. So it was down to 82. So was this a predictable move? The answer is no. And again, this is the same reaction off that Fed response. And again, unplanned, not a thing you can do about it. It ended up punching through the top and is kind of floating around that same level that we were looking at. Now, remember, if you had a position on, and this is one of those, we talked about call spreads and some binaries on this one on a weekly basis. If you were in those, there was no stop. A touch bracket, again, you would have gotten stopped on the top side of this one because it rode so high. And there's nothing we can do about it. It's going to happen. But, again, there are a number of retraces in this one available. So let me come back here and let's pull that zone, okay? And here's why. This is what I'm looking at in particular right now, is this little level right here. Okay, so we already know that it failed right here to get any higher, right? Put in another top, a lower low, and a push down. It came back up and retested that low. Again, this is the third low, this is the third high, the second one lower, and we're starting to get down where we're breaking a level. So I'm looking at figuring out where I can get in to capture this area. Okay, large movement, nice, nice top in that one. You guys can see we're basing off of this one. It did bounce kind of where you'd expect it to bounce, right around where these two candle bodies are. But this is just too tempting of a grab to the downside. Now, again, you guys can see there was this grab right here that happened about an hour and a half ago. And that's kind of where it's moving right now, right? Again, failure to go higher, created a zone. It didn't really grab one up here because the one was not formed. Retest and a push down, and it's already moved about 16 pips to the downside. So that's not bad. Now, 1 to 3, perfectly fine target. Their 1 to 5 is actually sitting right above this wick over wick. And we still got racetrack all the way down. So this is actually one of those things that we could recover a 1 to 10 on this one if you wanted to. I think we're good for a bit more range. But again, I'll move this over here just to kind of keep it more consistent. But I'm looking for some type of a capture of this big move today. It's just too much movement based off of an unreleased news thing, but nothing at the end of the day has really changed that much. Looking for that to pull back to the downside. All right. Dollar CAD. So dollar CAD's collapsing. No, not really. It had a nice little pullback, right? I mean, we had an area. There's a 4-hour zone that it pulled off of. I'm actually surprised that it was able to fully stabilize after last night. I'll put the overlay on it so you guys can see it. Overlay. Oh, it's not going to give me the overlay now, is it? There it is, right there. There's the daily right there. So it did just go slightly lower, but it spent a lot of time sitting in this zone. And what does it do now? It's rallying back out again. So I'm kind of looking for short positions in this one. Right now we have dollar strength, CAD weakness coming in. If we can get back up, and again, there's one small level here, but I really like this one up here a bit better. I think if we can get price up into this 140.52 range or 54 range, I think that's a better shorting position. Again, a little bit aggressive on the pullback. We were hoping this one there, and it didn't quite get there. You look to the left, there is a zone there, not the prettiest of zones. Yeah, you can see it right here. The indicator is pulling, giving it this little tiny, just, little check mark. Like I said, I think up here, this 140.58 is probably the best. And again, depending on which, if you want to take it here, it's a little higher. It's, let's see, on the hourly, you're talking about 18 pips. On the 30-minute, you're talking about 14, 15 pips. So I think that's a good, we may not hit it. It may get us close, and this may actually be a Sunday entry. I wouldn't be taking it off this little dink here, and maybe it depends. If we're sitting up in this pink zone by news time tomorrow, which is located approximately around 140.16, there could be a short opportunity. But again, that would be based off of the ISM manufacturing numbers being bad, and just short term dollar weakness on that one. Again, manufacturing is that is definitely something that can move the markets. All right. Looking at dollar yen. So dollar yen, right now it's moved 37 pips in the last 24 hours, but the last 60 minutes, let me pull this in real quick. Last 60 minutes, you can see that it's moved most. I mean, it was up 3.3. 60 minutes of that, it's kind of been pulling back again. So, you can see where this is coming from. We had this push up. The same type of bounce, right? The same bounce right here at 10 o'clock this morning, 10:30. Again, Fed comes out, says something that was not expected, increased stimulus, yada, yada, yada. Boom, that's what launched this thing forward. Now, we had zones up here, and we had talked about this is kind of the intermediate trade zone, and it ended up blowing through this kind of intermediate. And again, it's a 30-minute zone. It's not designed to take a major news release like this. On the hourly, we had marked off these zones up here at 107.52, that little 10-pip range. We got close, and it pulled away. It just didn't make it that far. It actually ran into the wicks and things like that before it. See this little level of basing right here? That's actually what it hit. I can continue this all the way across to there. But we really needed to come down this low, which you can see it was grabbing the wick. So, this may just be a case of being a bit too conservative with it. Again, direction was right. We said if we got high on the curve, we were looking to be shorting in this area, and we missed it by a total of 3.3 pips. So, what is the whistle? There's two birds on my right-hand side, is what it is. Yeah, no, there's two. It's a black conure, and he gets really excited. Actually, there could be screaming. My daughter is. Wait, did you just hear the bird just a second ago? That could be the whistle. But my daughter is in the hallway running through. Yeah, so It's a wild house, man. Yeah, it's a bird. Yeah, it's a bird. It's a I have a black cap conure and a green cheek conure, and they watch the charts. Like they'll come over here and they watch the charts go up and down. It's pretty funny. They don't want to come out today. Open the cage though. It is pretty funny. Anyway, same feeling on this one. Once we break this level, we are going to have an area right here of some basing, right? Again, last time price came up, it formed kind of a base here, right? Before launching itself. If this was just a slow push up, I wouldn't be as concerned. But the fact that it did try to pull back multiple times and buyers step in and then it launched itself again this afternoon, be a bit cautious with this one. So one way we can play this one is kind of the same thing. Let's go for a break of that level, take it to the downside, only go from a 1 to 3. Do not take it a 1 to 5. It will not make it down to the 1 to 5. It'll run into an area of buyers that were really crazy when the Fed announcement came out. 1 to 3 is the safest. You're only taking about 9 pips risk on this on the downside as well. So that may be the way to play this. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Yeah, this one is crazy, right? There was our small level zone, which again, small level zones are not designed to take Fed announcements. And this one did, right? So let's take the overlay off on this one. Go down to, so this is our 4 hour. So we really haven't left the range. We had marked off a zone here lower. Come all the way across. There we go. So interesting enough, it did kind of push back down again. It had not left the range. So it really, for me, wasn't anything that was like, hey, this is a great trade. Yep, looking for this one. Because I just wasn't really interested whatever price was here. Okay. Even on the 30-minute, you guys can see it. Nothing great, right? I mean, was this a great sell level? Not really, right? Right here is where that Fed announcement came out, the 10 o'clock kind of spike. Did it hit a level? Yeah. Was this a tradable level? No. So, I mean, if you'd gotten short this one, it was more or less just kind of luck, or you had been in from, one of these zones up top, probably that zone right there. That's where the original zone was. You would have already hit your 1 to 3 target, so I'm not sure why you would have been in again. And the fact that it bounced once, bounced a second time, it would have been pretty risky. I'm actually really surprised that that zone held. Crazy move off of it, right? Crazy move off of it. But not necessarily the best quality zone that exists. But it just goes to show you that sometimes even these zones that you would not think are that big, because of the irrational nature and the low volume that would typically occur in the dollar Swiss, look what it was able to do. I mean, the spike from this zone was 106 pips to the downside. This one has 100. This has a 70 pip ATR, and as you can see, that's kind of it's still high. It's still high. So, we're down in levels where we expected that we had marked this 96.60 over here as levels where we could have seen potential turns. I think I think we had a touch bracket that we talked about earlier in the week down there, right? No, we had a 96.01. Yeah, these were all higher. So, yeah. I don't know. In this one, I actually don't see this one retracing as much tomorrow. The way this was formed, we did have a bit of a pullback, and then its last pullback kind of failed. And with that ISM manufacturing number not being great tomorrow, not projected to be great, the fact that we haven't been able to retrace higher already, I would say that this one, I think, is probably destined to go to the downside. So, any targets you have on this one in a short, in the overnight, I would have yourself out at 96.0, basically 96.00 is probably your target for ISM tomorrow. Now, if we can push all the way down to that level before news tomorrow, there may be a short chance or a long chance out of this one. But that's quite a lot of movement in the overnight for this pair. I mean, you're talking about another 60 pips, like one entire daily ATR. That's a lot, right? It's a lot just for the Swiss to move in the overnight. So, but you never know. Maybe we'll get a nice little kick tomorrow morning at 8:30. US traders step in, and that could give us a long. But right now, nothing in the overnight. So, NQ. Talked about this. This was my favorite of the 3 last night. What did I talk about? We sitting right up here. So here's where we currently are right now, right? Last night at chart school, we were sitting right here. And we talked about, hey, listen, we just dinged that zone. We actually got a second entry about an hour, 2 hours after chart school. We were talking about shorting from that zone with the touch bracket. Now, I don't even think the touch bracket exists anymore. I'm pretty sure this touch bracket got stopped out. This was the one that was located. Let's see. We were sitting up there at 91. Yeah, it's already gone. Already gone. So hit the entirely full profit potential off that NQ trade last night. So the entire touch bracket, low risk, took the whole thing out. It's all gone. Moved the whole thing. So this was literally the best trade of the day today. And again, we marked it off last night as being a high level. So now we're probably going to have to switch this around and say, okay, listen, now that we're in this zone, we've had a bit of a pullback. Are we destined for some type of a long movement now? It's an interesting level. Let me just say that. It's an interesting level, okay? Last time we were here, we did get a spike up. It did spike down, and it did kind of give us a confirmation that there are buyers here, right? We missed it by just a slight bit. The problem with this level, and I'll move this one here just because it's easiest. We have another level sitting right here, okay? So we have one here. We have another one here, and we have another one here, and you guys can see we have yet another one here. So we have many levels of buyers stacked below where we are. If you're looking for the path of least resistance, it looks like it would want to go up, not down, okay? ISM is not the best thing because that will have the potential because it is manufacturing, and the overall market a lot of times follows what the Dow does, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And again, with news being industrial-based news tomorrow, it does have the chance to push us a little bit lower. Now, if there is any other comments about additional stimulus, supporting companies, those type of comments based off of what FOMC said today, those will all support growth. Okay, so that gives us the ability to kind of bounce off these levels. So what I would recommend is let's see where we are in the overnight. It is pulling back a little bit right now. While I'd like to say just blindly, hey, listen, we're in a demand zone, buy it right now. Typically, when you have multiple levels in a row, you take the lower one. Well, we got 4 in a row and then one a little bit even lower. On a 4-hour basis, you can see, where current price is now, we are showing a 4-hour level there as well. So we do have some good zones in the way. Okay. What I would do is let's see where this is tomorrow morning, right? Again, 9:30ish. News comes out at 10. Let's see if we are sitting inside of a level at that time or within like 30 minutes before the news comes out. Let's see if price is suddenly already starting to drive towards a level, okay? This can be like a double whammy tomorrow morning, right? If price is over in here, right, tomorrow morning before 8 o'clock, and from 8:30, 9:30, we start driving into this zone. If we can drive into this zone, at 10 o'clock, that sets up a perfect reversal trade based off of the time of 10:30, and news, and sitting in the supply zone. But if price pulls down and it's sitting here at that time, and 30 minutes before the news release, it drives itself into this zone, that could also give us the entry that we're looking for a reversal. The goal is, let's get in with as small a risk as possible. Okay, that's trading. Let's get in with the smallest risk possible. So I don't know if this one will hold or not in the overnight. If anything, I would say it looks like it wants to bounce off of that one, but we'll see. But I want to trade this as a news release tomorrow morning. So I'm going to wait until the overnight and see whether it hits here. Is it stuck here? Is it driving to there? Is it stuck here? Is it driving? Could it have ground its way through? Could it be driving down to this zone? Then I'm going to be taking it off this zone. So it's the goal is to match it as close as possible. And like I said, this has been the one that's been more reactive to news, especially to the top side. Now, let's pull some prices out on this one real quick. Let's pull some here. Let's pull some here. And let's pull one here. And I want to see. Oops, not that one. This one. I want to see what we got close bottom side. So, looks like 87. That's a bit too high. So, it looks like if we are sitting in this range tomorrow, the bottom of that range is 87, 86. This guy will be busted. This one will not, but it's a little bit far. Now I'm kind of hoping it breaks. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that one breaks now because if it stays in this green zone, we don't have a good entry. But this one down here at 87.46, the 68 is actually tradable for that one. So that may be possible. And then this 86.73, most likely the 86.73 one will be this top one after this breaks. When price crashes through this zone, this TB98 will disappear and break and then reprint, and that will probably be the one. So it would be TB104, I guess. TB104 would be the one to look like if we get down to this zone. So ideally right now, we need green to break and we need to be in white tomorrow morning. That would give us TB99 as kind of the option to trade on this one. Okay. All right. S&P. Feel good Friday trade setup. All right. So S&P, you guys can see S&P ended up bouncing right off that hourly, right? I'm still looking for a break on this one. This one kind of pulled all the way back. It bounced off this zone right here. Look at this. Right off this gap. We had marked that thing off. It was the same for all of them. It was a little bit higher. And again, we had erased it because it was a bit too high. It did come up. It did touch it. I don't think actually we can, I don't know if we can shrink that one anymore either. Let me see. Yeah, a little bit. Have to be there. Okay. There's your entry. Again, it did the exact same thing that NASDAQ did. It dropped to the downside. Now, we didn't really have a touch bracket that was good for this one, so there was really no way to get into this one. Touch bracket-wise, you could have taken this one in futures, and you can see it dropped all the way back down again. Now, the 28.98, that was a zone that we said you need to be careful. You need to make sure that your profit, getting some profit from that area, because that's where we saw price pop off of. Well, what did it do when it hit that zone? It popped once. It popped the second time before it collapsed back down, and then ended up digging that hourly level. So I still have this kind of short if we can break through this level set up in there, and I still think that is a valid trade. Taking price back down to this level. You guys can see this one is bouncing off more of this zone. Like it's going farther away from the zone than the NQ is right now. And like I said, in the overnight, it may pull up. Let me see on the 30-minute. Yeah, it's got to go a little bit farther. You can see it's pulling more off of where it should. But like I said, if we can round the top here and end up in this zone tomorrow morning, I would say I'm bearish this position. I just, by the way this is forming, it's starting to, kind of close the distance on that gap anyway. And, we're starting to break through the supply down here. This demand zone right here. We did break lower than it. So I would say I'm bearish on this one. Again, I want to see a break of this green level, come back up, retest, and then my targets are going to be approximately down here at 28.37 and 28.20. I'm sorry. Yep, 28.22. The Dow. Okay, so Dow, same thing. This one kind of had some funky zones over here, right? So this was kind of the least attractive. You guys can see it did spike. It didn't have that major, huge kind of explosion that everything else did. You can see at the bottom side, we had that target of, 23,983, and you can see we came down to 23,975. So it did come just a little bit lower than that, and that was an area we were watching out for. We said, we definitely had some buyers sitting in that range. Just be cautious. Price has already bounced off of it, and that's exactly what we hit today. So same kind of setup. It doesn't have as clean as zones, although it's still one of those positions that you can say, this one feels like it wants to fall. I would have to agree. I feel like this one, it's going to come through. I feel like this one's going to come through as well. And again, that was that zone based off of in here. Okay, 30-minute zones are not going to handle these type of gaps. But same idea. I think we're destined to come down to this zone. Now this one does have a few things in here that I'd be cautious with. I would say I like the S&P better. The S&P has a hiccup, but the hiccup's past the 1 to 3. This Dow trade, if we break that zone, it's not going to make a 1 to 3. It's going to have another area we need to bounce off of. So yeah, I think NQ NQ and ES are better than YM tomorrow. YM's a little bit funky. Now, if we can get back up to here, I'd be looking to take a short. If we can get up to there in the overnight, that would be awesome. If we can get the 23,300 or 24,300. Let me see. Do we have a touch bracket up there? That could be a pretty nice little touch bracket. 24. Ooh. Where is the top side of that one? Ooh, it's a bit close. I got really excited. I was like, oh, that one was right there. There you go, right there. 23,420. 15 points higher. So, if we can get up into that range tomorrow before news, TB52 looks like that could be a nice little trade setup to play that news. Again, that would be looking for a red day in the Dow tomorrow. So that's actually not bad. 15 points worth of risk there. That's not bad. That's not too bad at all. Yeah, right there. TB. Mark that one off, guys. 24,420. If we can get up into this red zone, again, we'd be looking for sales in here. We would need that type of movement to give us our 1 to 3, which is fine. And the 1 to 5 is actually not bad, although I don't think we can. I know that we'll rally up and push all the way down. I guess it's possible, but we're going to make sure that we can capture at least the 1 to 3 if that continues to push higher. So, yep, not too bad. TB52 on that one. All right. All right, so let's go over to gold. So I was looking at gold. Check this out for gold. So we've had this zone marked off. Look at this. Gold literally came down and then just stuck right inside of that zone like glue. Mark this off on a couple different time frames, right? we had this big pink area and we said, hey, listen, this is our 4-hour zone. Right, there's based off our 4-hour. The green was our hourly zone, and you can see what it did. It basically just stabilized right inside of that hourly zone. And in our 30-minute, you can see it just, they overlap and they're just stuck. So yeah, pretty interesting, right? Here, I'll remove the pink. That's our 4-hour zone. Yeah, so it didn't move. For me, I mean, that level definitely looks like it wants to hold. I mean, it's cranked that level, 5-6 times now? And it's holding. Now, it is forming, there are sellers above her at this point. You can see with this line, there are sellers sitting above this area. It's pulled up. It's got a lower high, a lower high, a lower high. So it's definitely consolidating in, which makes this kind of an interesting little, here, I'll pull this back so you guys can see the actual candles there. But look at this. This is very interesting. I mean, it's literally, it's like an Oreo cookie at this point. A rock in a hard place, okay? We definitely have the wicks above, right? I'm going to move this pink line out of the way. Oops. Looking at the price action, we definitely have levels sitting there, right? We have levels sitting in here, okay? You can even shrink that down. We have a level sitting in here. And then on the bottom side, look at how many times it's touched. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, interesting position, right? I don't know that at this point that I could say I'm going long off this area because, I mean, there's definitely sellers stacking up above, right? Can you go short? I don't know. I mean, it's been hit 5 times, but it's stabilized itself pretty well in that zone. You know, remarkably, I'm shocked that it didn't break through on those last 2 attempts. I mean, it has hit this level 6 times, right? And that's not even the original hit. The original hit's back here. So it's interesting. If we can break this zone, though, I mean, you know, if we do get a break of that level, I do like that the fact that the 1 to 3 is where the next actual area of buyers came in at. So, you know, for me, that level, and again, check it because this is ECN-based data, but 1679, base it off of yours off the bottom of this lip created back on 422. Yeah, it's 422 at about 3 o'clock. Interesting. Yeah, I would say, I mean, Q, really, honestly, that would be the best for me, would be considered like a Harry Potter to the downside on that one. How do you determine for sure where you guys want to put your gaps or your zones? All right, great question, Vigilant. So it's not like it's not where like there's no for sure's, okay? Supply and demand is one of these areas. Last time price was here, we saw a big movement in price. Does anybody know with 100% guarantee that a zone is going to turn? No. But the only thing I know is something can go to 0, right? What supply and demand does is it provides a way for us to create risk off of a level. And then there's like other things we can bind in, like things like the curve. Are we high on the curve? Are we low on the curve? Okay. Things tend to revert back to the mean. So in these situations, we've seen price come here. And again, this level was formed and it did retouch. So, I mean, you could have set a trade right here. And would it have been good? Yeah. It came down to tag the 1 to 3. And actually the spike candle hit your 1 to 5 all at the same time based off of this green candle. Okay. Right here. You see how it came back up and retested? So what you're looking for is large movement off. Now, the indicator actually does a couple different measurements to measure, you know, entry, exit. And there's kind of a, you know, like an algorithm inside of it that says, hey, listen, this is a good area. This is a bad area. There are other zones in here that it doesn't mark off because it's a little bit more sensitive. We try to dial it in to give people like kind of the highest quality zones. Doesn't mean there's not more zones that exist. So this is a good quality zone based off of what we see here. Large move in price. Now, is this the best level? No. Technically, the level should be painted. Really, I'd probably paint it a little bit lower, but this is really how it should have drawn the level, not the way that it did. So, I mean, if I pull this back to here, see how this came in? And really, it touched the end, so not ideal. But you can see what we bounced off of, okay? So, there is a little bit of kind of fine-tuning that you do with it. But again, it's taking measurements where price was before, where price is after. But the same thing. I mean, obviously, we had the big zone there, right? It was going in. But if I refine the zone using kind of a little bit more detailed data, you can see why did it stop here? Well, it stopped here very simply because last time that we saw price come to this area, there's only one way that price can jump is a lot of buyers come into the market, but all buyers' orders don't get filled. This is why it doesn't matter what chart I'm looking at. It doesn't matter if I'm looking at a stock. It doesn't matter if I'm looking at a commodity. We're on gold right now. I did the same thing for currencies as well. All a chart does is it prints prices. It records the agreement between buyers and sellers. And when you see a large spike, something had to move that. A lot of buyers. Okay. So again, Do we take risks by taking the zone like that? Sure. Can we call tops and bottoms? A lot of times, yeah, we can. But the most important thing is, are you creating a buy and a sell zone with low risk that you can have the potential to make at least 3-1 off your money, right? Risking 1, making 3. And again, that keeps your win-loss ratio at a, a respectable level. It's easy to, be able to get that, that type of, results. Now, could you pick crap levels and be wrong more than, what you need? Sure, absolutely. But as you get better at this, again, the goal is to have that good risk, low risk to a decent reward and make sure that it can move. Now, this would have been a home run trade if you were able to get it today. But where we are now, this one's a little bit interesting. Now, silver, look at silver. How about that drop? Look at this thing. I expected silver. Remember, guys, I talked last night. I'm like, hey, listen, if we get up into 1546 range, it's a sell. It came right up to that range. And yes, it was a sell. It came back up and pushed. We were talking about getting out of trades to the downside at 1495. Here was that last time the price had look at this. This thing tanked all the way down here to what? 1450? It went much lower than I thought. I was like, wow. So it's kind of stabilizing now. It's putting in some, buyers here. It's, it's kind of consolidating. It's about to run in some sellers up top. So it had a lot. I did not expect this big of a drop. Now, again, we were talking about being short coming up here. So it blew right through any profit targets we would have had to the downside. So yeah, go silver. Sean, I hope you got short this position today because this one was a monster. I looked at this chart and I'm like, holy crap, that went way past the target. Now, interestingly enough, it did stop in a 30-minute zone. That's a great 30-minute zone. We talked about that before. The first kind of sticking point would have been at 1477 here. Second one, and again, indicator wins. Look at that. All the way down, bounced off that thing. And we jumped from 1460 all the way back up to 1520. And now we're sitting over here at 1497. So, yeah, go silver. Go silver. I think if we can get back up into this range, the way that this thing was already starting to fall down, I think that's probably a valid, another valid short if you guys are looking to trade silver. It is Friday, so it won't have a full completed day and then kind of the after hours benefit that we had today. But that may be something to watch out for next week, would be that kind of top level up there, that 1530 range. Now, last but not least, oil. Remember the ECN data for oil is it's starting to print, like it's close over here, but let me pull I think it's this one. Yeah, it's that one. All right, so let me pull this guy in. So here's what we had. Finally, and again, here was that top little zone that we had. Yeah, it's not quite, it's getting close. It's getting close to being back. The prices are off, right? Prices are off, but the candles are starting to look similar. Still got this little spike over here, but ECN data is still a little bit funky. Anyway, here's the green zone that we talked about, right? And now again, what did we say? We said it's been touched, right? 1, 2, we said it's only good for one more touch. There was touch number 3. It pulled back again right into that same kind of vacuum zone that we talked about, and then it punched through. Okay, so not surprising. Number 4 was the winner on that one, and it punched through. Unfortunately, top side is going to be difficult to really kind of manage at this point. Because of all the, because best we're going to be able to do is box it off like that. That is based off of this side right there. Okay. So kind of a weird situation. It's nice to see oil kind of going back up again. Where would this short go? Probably back down in this range. I think it's going to get sucked right back into the same green zone. Like I said, it's got front run. It pulled up, it below, resided up, down, resided down, bounced off of it, resided all this time again, then popped. I think it'll come back down here. I think we'll be back down in this like 1755 range is what it looks like. There's a few buyers sitting in this zone, but yeah, it'd be nice to have actual good data for this one. But this May contract, June contract thing is a problem. Now, inventory numbers were a little bit better this week. As things start to reopen, I'm curious to see what the inventory numbers look like next week because and James, if you're out there, what's the expiration date for this June contract? I know, obviously this drama or whatever we had from back here last week on the 21st. So we got 2 more weeks. I'm curious to see when this really started to kind of tear off. What the time frame is going to be over here, and see if we're going to have the same type of tear off at the end with supply. I'm wondering if it will start a little bit earlier this time. I don't think it'll be as bad. I don't think we'll go negative again. I think that was ridiculous. But curious to see, maybe at the 2-week mark or week and a half out, to see if this will continue to start to push the downside. That'd be kind of crazy. Trading net X. Gold mini spread is usually around 5 on X. Natural gas spread has been 1 or so. So it's been my new favorite. Yeah. Sean, you've been killing it with that one. Yeah. All right. So those are those positions. All right. So for any of you guys that hung around, what were the stock tickers that you wanted me to check real quick? I don't even think I have the other one up anymore. No. Is Apple up there? I think I blew up the Apple one. Yeah, Apple pushed a bit higher. BEN. All right, let me see. Quote BEN. Franklin Resources. Is that the one you're looking at? I don't make my info up. What? What are you talking about, James? No, James. I'm trying to figure out. As in Ben Franklin? Honestly, Q, it doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter what it is. All right, so let's go back and look at this. Instead of 30 minutes, let's pull this back and we'll look at an hourly, see if we can suck more in. There we go. That's what I was looking for. All right, so interesting enough. So where price is, you can see last time the price came up to a range here. So this is one of those like kind of hidden things that we're looking for. Oops. See how we had a drop in this area and then a basing level? So see, I'm going to put a line and oh, I forget I did the line. How the heck did I do the line again? Oh, there we go. There. Oh, God. I want it to be straight. It's not straight, but it's close. Oh, man, this is like, I just want a horizontal line. Why can't I have a horizontal line? All right, it's obviously getting a little bit bigger, but you guys can get the idea. So that is kind of an area that I'm looking for because price came down at based and then it launched itself to the downside. As you can see, here's a level of basing too, right? Drop, based, dropped again. And what did it do? It came right back up to that same basing level before it pushed to the downside. And it came down here, then it gapped. And what did it do off the gap? It hit the gap and went higher. What did it do again? It hit the gap and went higher. So this is an area that I'd be watching out for. Obviously, I know that this is not straight. I just want a horizontal line. It's just not going to give it to me. That's probably as close as we can get. So it looks like that horizontal line is sitting up here at approximately 1950. So, I mean, on the lower time frames, it looks like it's pushing higher. I mean, we had a bit of a spike in it today. It did come back. It did grab some orders. It didn't make it up to a gap. Let me drop down to a 30-minute and see if that gives us a little bit better of a view. Yeah, I mean, here, and again, here's price came up, it stabilized, and pushed off again. So I'm going to actually draw a rectangle because the rectangle part I can do. See what we bounced off of? Now, you guys see that? All right, now this 30-minute candle is going to be kind of junk. It's going to be hard to do much off of that one. But see, even right here, I'll pull back a bit. Now, again, we were bouncing off of a level, so this would have been more of a target, not necessarily a short signal. Because again, we're in an uptrend, right? You want to stay with trend and grab pullbacks, but the trends will pass. Will eventually go. So let me see. Whoops, I wanted to see. Oh, that thing is going to kill me. That's where I'd probably put the zone. Right in there. All right. So at 1880, I don't really see anything in the overnight that's going to tell me that, hey, listen, it's going to slow down at this point. I think you're good. You may want to get some, and again, see what's happening at the time, but you may want to start looking for some shorts here. What I would imagine is it will probably continue to rally tomorrow. It doesn't look like it wants to top right now. There's no gaps. There's no nothing. And when we go backwards, looking at the same time frame, looking right below where that current price is, you can see that there's really just a drop. So there's not really anything to the left that would show me that says, hey, listen, there's sellers here. You need to get out before that zone. I think you're probably good. Now, you can see that level actually did base down here at 1960. I'm trying to take the top of that one, be a little bit more conservative. If you're going to get into a short, I like to keep the risk small. But 1960 is kind of like, that's where the true basing level is. But again, this is at 1975. So, only about 16 cents difference between the two. I don't really see much difference in there. To me, it looks like it would continue to push up. Again, if the market's similar to what it was today, you're going to kind of, get some rallying. But ideally, what you want to do is when this pulls back is where you want to get some longs. This is a great one. This price came back again, very clear, nice push away. That zone is probably good again. If price comes back down to the 1780 range, you're probably okay. This zone looks like it's all right, but it happened at 2 p.m. versus, this is at 10 a.m. A 10 a.m. zone is great, right? This came in at 11:30. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's kind of like, is the zone as good? Typically not as good, right? Like if this was 10 o'clock in the morning, I'd say, yeah, hey, we're, not a bad zone, right? It formed at its peak. Like it, right? These are great. Both these areas turned at 10 o'clock in the morning. So see where we are. I mean, if we gap back down again and you do gap into that range, right? If you are gapping into this range, you may be able to get long that position tomorrow as well. Okay. You don't have the exact date on that one? Yeah, the last of May one. Oh, yeah, the last of May. Yeah, I don't know. Futures usually third week for contracts. Yeah, so June would be, I believe, Friday the 19th. Okay, no later. All right. Yeah, so hopefully that works. Anybody else? Somebody else asked for one as well. But yeah, Vigilant, I think you're good for that one. Like I said, obviously we have been in an uptrend. The goal is to grab it when it pulls back. There's another basing level here. Again, it kind of pulled into it at the end of the day. Here's another example, right? Another example of it dropped down, it based, and again, you got a bonker zone here as well. Okay. Drop down. What did it do? It closed inside of a demand zone. And what did it do? Boom, it gapped all the way up. You went from 1750 and you would have opened up here at what? $18. So I think you're good, but just make sure that you are protected on the top side when you get up here at 1960. Who else was it? Somebody else had a question as well. I don't remember what it was. Notorious, maybe it was you. Notorious, you still around? I don't know if he's still around. I'll give him about another minute. All right, so what we'll do, guys, is we'll go ahead and do the drawing tonight, and we'll see if Notorious still wants me to look at that other stock. If so, I will go ahead and pull it for him. Let's see. We'll go ahead and do the drawing, and then I'll give Notorious a little bit extra time. So when this says 122, I will close down the giveaway for tonight. So don't forget, the giveaway is for Pip Chips. Pip Chips is currency for the channel. You can purchase mentoring one-on-one. We can do analysis. We can go over indicators. We can go over your current strategy. We can talk about risk. We can really talk about whatever you want. All right. And that's when you accumulate enough Pip Chips. And it's not actually a very, very high number in there. But we do this drawing every night. So all you got to do is do exclamation point ticket. Excuse me. I know a lot of you guys are like the snipies at the very bottom. Man, Ernest, I've been burping up these. The wife wanted tater tots. And she's been making them in the toaster oven all week. And I'm like, nah, those are going to be soggy. Like, those are not, no, you got to fry these things, right? You got to fry them. So I went downstairs, and for dinner, I fried up some tater tots in a wok with a little bit of garlic oil. Q, I'm not that fancy, man. I don't have an air fryer. You can buy me an air fryer, right? But I went ahead and, I got a wok, threw some oil in there, got some garlic in there, seasoned it a little bit, fried them up. And like, she was like literally drowning these things inside of ketchup. And like, she's like, listen to this. And they were like super, super crunchy. I mean, they were good. I didn't get any, but she was like, oh my God, these are the best tater tots. So I think I have ruined my wife for cooking tater tots inside of the toaster oven because I got a little bit of oil, put them in a pan, and fried them up, and they were extra crispy. Yeah, it was cute. Well, she's Canadian. I don't know if you know many Canadians. Canadians drown everything in ketchup. Everything. Yeah, everything. Yeah, and I mean, literally, I was like, is there a tater tot under there, or are you using the tater tot as just a way to get the ketchup in your mouth? But yeah. So you know. All right, so you know then. Yeah. All right, anyway, guys, winner of tonight's drawing is, I just made some tater tots as well from Lockdown Restaurant. I'm telling you, I just felt bad, man. Like, I felt bad. I was like, you're making them in a toaster oven. Like, yeah, they're like slightly browned on the outside. I was like, but you can't mess with frying, man. You can't mess with frying. Oh yeah, she loves Tim Hortons. She loves it. Yeah. Tim Hortons. We got into an argument. Harold, let me draw the winner and I'll tell you the story. So the winner tonight is James. Look at that. James, man, you've been doing pretty well lately. This is your like second or third one in the last like 2 weeks. James is bringing it up, man. We're gonna have to do another one of those ones where we do like the betting, the above him. I think next week we are going to do for oil. For actually, you know what? I don't know. Maybe we'll put it out Monday night. We're going to do one since oil inventory reports are not getting released until kind of Tuesday. The forecasts are not there. We're gonna put out one of those above and below next week and get get a little betting in there. Will had 100. Will was really Will was going for 100. Well, you're destined not to win that one. You only win once a year. Anyway, so we got in an argument that Tim Hortons things, right? She was like, "Oh yeah, they're called Timbits." I was like, "No, they're called Munchkins." She goes, "No, they're called Timbits. You stole it from us." I go, "No, they were called Munchkins first. Go look it up." Guess who was right? It was me. Dunkin' Donuts made Munchkins before Tim Hortons had made Timbits. So she was pissed off about that one for a little while. But hey, what can I say, man? Canada steals everything from us. They have Thanksgiving. I'm like, well, wait. I'm like, you guys have Thanksgiving? What are you thanking? I'm like, Plymouth Rock is in America. It's an American holiday. You guys have turkeys? What are you doing here, Thanksgiving? So they steal everything from us. And they just rename it. They're like, oh, no, we're going to have Halloween, but it's going to be on a different date, a month earlier. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so big fights. Yeah, we don't have Boxing Day here. No. Yeah, they have Tim's here, but I don't think it's as good. And it's the same thing. Guess what? But I don't think Tim's is good here. You know why? We have Target in the States. They had Target there, but Target sucked. It was horrible. She's like people come from Canada just to go to Target down here in the States because they love it, right? Keep bragging at basement store, we're locked for the night. Yeah, right. The baby will come with me. She'll be mad. We don't have Tim Hortons here, but Munchkins have been around since I was a kid. Will, they've been out since like the 60s. Yeah, they've been out forever. Yeah, Munchkins, the donut holes have been around forever, but yeah, Munchkins were the first big one. But yeah, so poor Tim Hortons. Yeah, poor Tim Hortons. Pretty soon, wait, Starbucks will come out with them and try to rename it and be like, hey, we created these things. And it was like, no. No, we don't have poutine. They do have some poutine, and you can get it everywhere. The first time I had poutine was in Toronto at a Wendy's. How about that? I don't do them any stock tips, but yeah, the commentary is funny too. Yeah, poutine, guys, if you haven't had it, it's the weirdest thing ever. But I got it at a Wendy's, and I'm like, oh my God, this stuff is so good. It probably took 5 years off my life. Minimum. I think I had it like 3 nights in a row. And it was from Wendy's. Anyway, guys, with that being said, I am out of here. I will catch you guys next week. Like I said, any of the new guys in, you're more than welcome to follow the channel. You can join Discord. I don't do too much with individual stocks, but I'm always willing to look at a chart and break it down and hopefully, help educate you guys a little bit more. So, give the channel a follow. We typically are on Monday through Thursday nights at 9 p.m. till about 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Tuesdays, I am doing a stream for Nadex from 12 to 1, and I will be streaming it through Twitch, but I don't actually answer any of the questions or anything like that because I'm actually streaming for them. I'm just kind of dual streaming it through the software. So it's just kind of like you guys could watch the broadcast or whatever and kind of see what we're talking about, but I won't be able to respond to any questions or anything like that. So, so hopefully you guys come back next week. And like I said, if you guys are stock traders out there, I don't mind looking at a chart because breaking down a chart helps every single person that's in the channel. And that's what I'm here to do. All right. You guys take care. I'll catch you guys next week.